Yeah.
So let's get right into talking.
10 seconds
during
of
this
talking points.
movie.
10 seconds of talking points. 10 seconds of talking points.
10 seconds?
10 seconds of talking points. So let's get right into it.
Let's get right into it.
Talking points.
Talking points.
Yeah, it was 10 seconds of talking points. I've been doing the Hoffman. Oh my God, what are you doing, bro? Damn, I've been working with you for a season.
Hold on.
You thought I was spazzing or something over there?
Now I'm on the same page. Okay. 10 seconds.
I've been doing this bit for like
Well, I can't see. That's the problem. All right. Clarity. All right.
Yeah.
So, talking points. Yes. Now we're on the same page.
Yeah, I've been doing that bit for like.
I also indefinitely is out there, and all right. So talking during the movie. You go first, please, because
Okay.
I need to compose myself. I need to figure out what I'm doing.
Well, I mean, yeah, I was right here with you, though. So, Jesus Christ, man, get yourself together, man. You think after a full season, you be together. And I want to thank, by the way, for the full season, I want to thank Blue Moon for unofficially sponsoring my Royals Talking Points. Listen, it's always coming soon when it's Blue Moon. That's tasty.
Hey, it's no joke when it's Coke.
We're going to get sponsored one way or another. All right, so the first thing that that really it captures me, especially you don't take it for, you don't really appreciate it when you're a child or when you first watch a movie, but as an adult, we're doing our deep dive rewatch, was the opening credits for the MGM and the United Artists. It just took me back to those times, like, man, they don't got a lot of money, but they're finna blow my mind type. You know what I'm saying? It was very good.
United Artists went double on the intro too.
Oh,
It was
yeah.
MGM, UA, and then just UA by itself.
Yeah. In case this doesn't work, we was also part. It wasn't just our fault. So that I really loved that. It was definitely a throwback 80s intro.
Let me ask you a question real quick. Are you taking any prescription medication?
Oh, I love that you say that because that lets me know that you're trying to. He's trying to get to know you. He's trying to get to know you. He's trying to get to know you. And one thing that's funny you say, it's not funny you say that. Of course, this is a film by Barry Levinson, and we'll talk in depth about him later. And not just a throwaway line. Clearly, like I said, we'll talk about it. But Dustin Hoffman gets top billing was one of the first things I noticed. And you see why.
Yeah.
If you watch, we'll talk about it.
Oh, and speaking of what we will talk about later on in the episode, for Cast Crew and You, we will be talking to the AD and producer of Rain Man and so much more, Titan in Hollywood films. You know so much stuff that he's worked on, and we'll get into some of that with David McGiffert later on in the show. Also, Hans Zimmer, this was one of his... Not one of his, but it was way early in his career, and I was surprised to find out that there was he only composed 2 tracks, a total of 12 minutes for that score, but they used variations of those tracks throughout the whole movie. They just keep reoccurring, and it is effective.
If you're talking about getting the most out of the least, then they did it, because I'll tell you this, that was one of those times where the music didn't do it for me, but it also didn't take away from it. Like sometimes when you don't have music, it's okay not to have it. The story's strong enough, which this one was. It plays through. It's just like, hey, dude, hey man, you're the rice. Just something to make you digest the meat before you get to the other stuff. Like, one of the things that I really loved about it is at first when we first meet Charlie Babbitt, when we first meet him, like, for like 2 or 3 seconds, you get the ultimate, like, here's this prick because you see this Lamborghini flying through the sky, like, what assholes on the ground waiting for this lamb, you know what I'm saying? And then immediately you got to check yourself because it's not his. You know what I'm saying? So now you're trying to figure out, okay, what does he do? And then immediately you're rewarded with, this is Wolf of Wall Street before Wolf of Wall Street. He is in there trying to get people to pass EPA inspections. It's crazy, man. So I'm off and running at that point.
Yeah, Tom Cruise. I remember when I watched this as a kid, it was such a different experience watching it recently. Because when I watched it as a kid, I always loved Tom Cruise, and I never picked up on the fact that he was like a terrible person, essentially. I didn't understand how he was, like all the little subtle ways that he was just really a piece of shit. And this time it really stood out to me. Like, he finds out he has a brother, He steals him away. He doesn't even want to spend time with him. As soon as they get to that hotel, he shuffles him in a room. He's on the phone trying to figure out how to get that money, how to turn his brother into the money that he deserves. And I just thought, like, if I found out that I if I found out that I had an estranged brother and I just reconnected with him, like, I don't know, I feel like there'd be a little bit more of a reunion, but he's so far reserved and emotionally cut off, and you find that out in the beginning when
But why?
probably because of his daddy issues.
That's say it. You're big, and
But it's so
100% correct.
like it's so clear that like one of the symptoms of autism is that you have like an inability to forge emotional connections, and Charlie, he doesn't have autism, but he's like in the same boat as his brother. He's in the car with Susanna, and he finds out that his dad dies, and there's literally no emotional response here. Sorry about the weekend, Susanna. She's like, sorry about the weekend, Charlie.
But even before that, she was like, I feel like I'm in the car with no one.
Yeah.
We've been in the car for an hour. Like, you want to talk? Let's talk. I don't want to talk now. We're yelling.
That's not talking. That's not talking. You want to talk, Susanna? Yeah, but and that's the other thing I have is that the dialogue in this is performed so naturally. Like, the way it flows is so, the way it feels like real life. The way people repeat themselves, the way they talk over each other, and yeah, exactly. When Charlie and Susanna in the car, you want to talk? Let's talk. And he keeps repeating that over and over again. I did think it was funny, speaking of communication, that Charlie is stuck. The two main people that Charlie has to communicate with in this movie, there's a language barrier with both of them. Like his girlfriend, there's that language barrier because she's from a different place, and then with his brother, of course, there's the communication barrier because he's autistic. So you're constantly watching Tom Cruise frustratingly try to convey himself to these people that have to struggle to understand him.
To segue on what you said earlier, I agree with you that you said daddy issues, and that's exactly what I had down over here. But to me, it's deep rooted daddy issues. So much to the fact that he won't let anyone get close to him. Mm-hmm. He got to do it himself. He always have to be this perfect shell of not letting people get close. And she kept saying that she was like, I told you I was gonna go away with you. I don't even know who I'm going to be a serial killer. Like, so like you say, to your point, like he, and to his own sense, was the exact opposite. He was autistic in his own way. So that was one of the things. Now I do want to say something. Valeria Galino, who played Susan, she to me really, you know what she really made me think of, and who she made me think of? She made me think of Butch's girlfriend in Pulp Fiction. Oh, Butch,
yeah.
I suffer too. Who's this? He said, "This dead baby."
You remember her from Hot Shots?
Yo, that is, yes, that is. When I looked her up, that is her. So,
yeah.
Oh, Topper, or whatever. USA Up All Night.
Talking about, it's funny you mentioned Dustin Hoffman being the top billed as far as the credits go. It's crazy because he is the title character, and I noticed I was watching the runtime, and he doesn't pop up until like 19 minutes into the movie. That's like, it's crazy.
How does he pop up? In Daddy's car. So one of the things that really caught my attention early in the film is, and I've heard you mention this before, is when the doctor's in the scene with Tom Cruise and they're in the hallway, and he's explaining to him what his brother is, what Raymond is. He's explaining he's an autistic savant, mm-hmm. and he really just couldn't even understand it. He was really trying to comprehend it. Like wait a minute, so he's good, but he's not good. I don't. And when I tell you, I'm surprised Tom Cruise had a career after the he said to this Red Book. Like, oh, don't think that.
Squeezed and pulled and hurt my neck in 1988. Are you kidding me, right?
You know why? Because he saw his name in there.
Yeah. Well, that goes back to why, like, I think Charlie Babbitt is so up because he just found out that his brother. Because if you notice, Raymond says number 18 in 1988. If that was my brother, my first reaction would not be stop acting like a fucking My first reaction would be, who are these other 17 people that hurt you? Let me see what's happening here. But Charlie literally only gives a shit about himself.
One of the things that we can't run over there right there is that it's not the line that we can't run over. It's not about who's saying the line. That line signifies a time in cinema to where you can say and it was like, man, they just said it. Like you literally say, I'm not even gonna say one of the things they could say, but he literally just told his brother, who's an autistic savant, "You're fucking like this
with conviction."
and it's your brother.
Yeah. Yeah, just completely insensitive, and which it was a very different time. And I mean, you saw when they go to the hospital or the doctor's office in I can't remember Guthrie, some whatever. And the doctor in there, he's like, I don't know much about any of this, but I heard something, and he just starts experimenting with him with a calculator.
Yeah, dude, I was just pointing to it. Please tell them what I was. This is why our show is fucking great. Please tell me what. I was just gonna go to this
Special abilities X-Men Doctor show.
He's like, I read about this. Yeah. He's like, what? I'm like, you sick.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
You go to the doctor to get answers, and now the doctor wants answers. Let me tell you something here.
But I'm sorry, I'm foreshadowing here, but that did bring me to one of my lines. Motherfucker was like, he could work for NASA, and then he was like, well, if I got $1 and I take 50 cents, how much you get? Like $70. So much for NASA, Ray.
How much is a candy bar? $100.
So how much of a shiny car? $100.
Yeah, he tried to tell you, Charlie. He doesn't understand money.
Did you hear his brother say, so much for NASA, Ray?
Yeah.
That's up, bro.
Yeah.
Literally, that's where the line is. That's up, bro, comes from. That movie and that moment. Nobody had ever uttered the line that's up, bro, until Charlie Babbitt did Raymond Babbitt like that on that day in 19 whatever the that line was born.
I gotta give it to Dustin Hoffman because, like, going back to watching this as a kid versus watching it as an adult, when I watched it as a kid, Dustin Hoffman was literally just comic relief for me because I did not understand. I just didn't understand the implications of his character, but watching it now, I really appreciated it more than ever, how he could master, like, when you're watching his face in these different scenes, he is masterfully expressing fear, anxiety, sadness, but all through the eyes of, like, an autistic person, and it just, like, it's heartbreaking, especially in that doctor's office scene where the doctor asks him, he's like, Ray, are you autistic? No, definitely not. Definitely not. Like, that part right there was a heartbreaking performance because, and he does it so well to where sometimes you're feeling bad for him, then you're finding humor in what in his antics and his quirks. And as you're finding humor in it, you end up feeling bad at the same time because it's like, I should not be laughing at this because this man is hurting, and you could see it in his eyes.
One of the things, and you're not wrong about that, and we're definitely going to dive into that later when we continue to talk about this. One of the things that I don't know if most people noticed was definitely, of course, people call them callbacks, Easter eggs, or homages to movies. You notice, I think he won around $80,000 to $86,000 when they went to the casino. That's the same amount of money in the movie The Hangover that they won $80,000. That when they went to casino, when they mocked that exact same scene, it was $80,000.
You know what's up about those winnings is that after Charlie uses Raymond to win all that money, he then uses Raymond as like a human calculator sitting at the bar to determine how he's going to spend all of his monny. All right, so,
well, no, man,
remind me one more time. How much was the loan? Okay, how much? All right, like he's got nothing. He's helping him go through.
But did he not have his back when he went up to the office? A guy has a good day at the table, and this is how you do it.
No, he had his back. He was protecting his money. I would guarantee that his brother was the last thing on his mind.
What do you want to know? His name's Ray? I'll tell you what you need.
Counting cards. We're counting cards.
Oh, I'm going to tell you one of the touching moments in the film for me towards the end. If you notice, to me, it was one of the times, and I'm going to touch on this later. And I don't. It was when Charlie was eating with Raymond at the end of the film. It was towards the end, but he was eating with a toothpick. And I think that was definitely done on purpose to really show.
Tom Cruise?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's towards the end. They like you saw Raymond's character eating out of his hand, and you saw Charlie eating with a toothpick. And I was just like, it was just like maybe for like 6-7 seconds. I'm like, oh, shit, I get it. You know
Yeah,
what I'm saying?
that's one thing that I really liked about this movie was how realistic it was in the character development and like the growth of Charlie and Raymond throughout the movie. Like, there's never one of those like blinding change overnight. Like I've had this like road of Damascus experience, and now I'm completely changed. Like, even at the very end of the movie, Charlie has only changed ever so slightly, but he's a little bit better, and it's realistic. And the same thing with Raymond is that he still has to go back to the home because that's where he's better off. Like, I feel like today it would have been completely different.
This is one of the, I will say this. This is one of the better endings to a film because it was one of the most honest endings to a film that I think we've ever covered. I mean, we have
they originally, it was originally written for Charlie or Raymond to end up with Charlie, but Dustin Hoffman pushed for it to be the other way, where he's like, no,
this is more gut wrenching. This is more put it in term. This is, and that's what I'm saying. Because if he does end up with them, yeah, we feel good. We go home, and now we want to see another movie. But but now we fiend for You know why we love the movies where you get the person at the end, because once upon a time there was a movie where the person didn't get them.
Yeah.
And because that movie has that much courage, we now get the love. Oh no, you got to come home to me. Mm-hmm. I'm coming for you, baby. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? This yet again. This. How dare they not? You're welcome, YouTube. You're welcome, America. You're welcome, Brazil, Beirut, Nepal, Guam.
Did you notice after Susanna leaves, there's a severe decline in the
civility that he treats his brother with?
No, well, kind of, yeah. But I noticed that, like, so they're all right. Presidential suite, Ray. They're in the presidential suite in the first hotel they stay in. Susanna leaves. From that point on, it's shitty motels on the side of the road. Like, even the motel where he's like, hot water burn baby, hot water burn baby. If you look at the shower curtain in that hotel, it's like got stains on it, rips in it. And at first I was like, all right, maybe he's just being more careful with his money because of everything that's happening with the loan. But then he had a couple $100 after these motels stays.
Buy that little TV.
Yeah, which a couple $100, that little black and white TV. Holy shit.
You got a press like fucking 84.
That was top of the line technology.
Radio Shack was
the car phone.
There was no Best Buy children.
Yeah.
My thing is this. So my point is this. You know what? I wasn't gonna bring this up till later. The fact, but yeah, I'm glad you said that, because while she was around, it was nice stuff. But guess what? Well, guess who? Like whack-a-mole popped back up when that 80,000 got popped.
That's true.
She heard it through the grapevine.
And the first thing she says is, "I'm unemployed now."
I bet.
Yeah.
You know. But she was talking cold hard shit on that phone. She was like, he said something like, so because we're not engaged, you're like, well, what's going on here? Then they go like, no, you can't just tease us with that.
We're only with Susanna. Because
no, man, I'm not just with Susanna because I know.
Well, I am, because Susanna is the one voice of true moral. Like, she's the one moral compass.
She wouldn't have made it past that first hour on that road trip with me. All the questions she was asking, like, I just want to know why you're not talking. I'm like, damn, we're not even halfway there.
Because you lied to me. I tell you to go apologize to him, and you go in there and you yell at him. You make him feel worse.
You were just 97% naked in the tub. The other 3% was suds. I'm doing shit like toothpicks. It was a freaking 246 toothpicks on the ground and 4 left in the damn thing. 3, whatever.
You are a vagina savant. So when they are, one thing I want to appreciate about this is when they're pulling.
Don't you put that on me, Ricky Bobby. Don't you put that on me.
When they're pulling into Vegas, one thing I noticed is that, well, 2 things about the pull into Vegas. The first thing is that there is no, like, they don't have the stereotypical, we're in Vegas now, baby, bright lights, big city, bamming music. Like, none of that happens when it's
smooth. They smooth way in.
It's subtle. They don't.
The laxative of Las Vegas. They just smooth in.
There's almost, and there's this one shot when they're driving in, and I don't know how they did it, and I love that because it was a great shot. They're in the convertible, they're driving, and the shot starts out as a close up on that little black and white TV that Ray's watching, and they are driving, So they're in motion going forward, and this shot is, and you would think this shot, okay, the person's in the back seat with a camera shooting this TV. But then, as they're still driving, this pulls all the way up above the car, and the car continues driving away. So I don't know how that this is not digital because this is 80s.
It had to be a rolling jib that slowed down. Like they had a jib on a rolling crane and it slowed down at the first time to stop, but still back up.
It was steady and it was a perfect shot.
That's the only thing I think of. One of the other things that I did want to talk about, one of the talking points that people really don't talk about, that the trustee at the hospital knew how Charlie's dad really was, because see, when Charlie was so messed up that you really want to get any bits and pieces of how messed up his dad was. What did he do to him? Did he beat on him? Did he not love him? And he says like, "Hey man, I stole my dad's car." And it's like, okay, yet again, look, I don't know if that was spawned Ferris Bueller, the whole my dad car thing. Like you hear a little bit,
even the way he's talking about it in the garage with it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's very big to me. And then, but my point was, is like, damn, Charlie's dad was so bad that his friend, his really good friend, said not only did he take on his brother and promise to do it, he was not for the money for him. He truly cared about his brother and the well-being. And number two, he looked at Charlie and said, "I don't blame you for how you feel about your dad. Like I'm his friend and I get it."
Oh yeah, so there is some
yeah. So he's like, I don't blame you. He still tried to give him $250,000. Like, I mean, it's crazy.
It was messed up, though. I think that even after, not after the dad died, but throughout all those years, they never reached out to Charlie and said.
He asked that several times. Why did you tell me I have my brother?
And the only thing that the doctor said was, "Oh, what would you have done?" That's not for you to decide, doctor. That's for the
But it is because he's the doctor. Only because he's trustee, David. Only because. If you just a doctor, then no.
You tell the brother that he has a brother. That's the end of the story. And what the brother does with
that's
it
not
is on
the dad's
him.
wishes. I'm with you on a moral compass, but if that's not in the dad's wishes, you don't do it.
Yeah, but the dad. He even knows the dad's an asshole, so he should have went behind him. So, like
you're the trustee of the $3 million estate.
Whatever. All I know is
is he the trustee or the Judas? What I don't understand what's going on. Is it, okay, all right. I should have never brought up the trustee.
I just want to let you in on a little secret.
Oh my gosh.
Kmart sucks.
Oh my god. Oh.
That goes back to because you brought up Jerry Maguire with the show me the money. That was another thing when he said Kmart sucks. It reminded me of Jerry Maguire, because you remember Jerry Maguire caught a bunch of shit because of their Reebok line.
Oh. They did.
Yeah. I don't know what it is with Tom Cruise just in his pictures wanting to test the waters as far as pissing off advertisers.
One of the things I'm going to tell you I love, one of our most successful episodes of this season was Plane, Trains, and Automobiles. And one of the things I loved about this film when I did the rewatch was some of the most pivotal scenes happens around planes, trains, and automobiles.
It is a road trip.
The trains. The panic, when the first time we see Charlie Ray really go crazy is by the plane. He's like, hey, oh shit. And so the ending with the train, and of course the automobile, the ride when Tom Cruise loses.
That's true. In that order. Oh no,
but I mean, not necessarily in that order.
Yeah.
Oh, no, he lost it with the planes. The train is last, so his planes automobile. But my point is we previewed the film earlier, but the significance of all the emotions that happens around it. So we made a Ferris Bueller reference. We made it like all these.
And it's got that '80s synthesizer score.
Oh yeah, definitely. But the reason why I brought that up is to say this before we get on. I know we've been on talking points for a while. If we can end it on this, one of the things that they made it very clear, and I think that everyone did their research on it, was that for an autistic savant, routine is everything.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing they can make sense of is numbers, and is a pattern, is the algorithm of life. And the moment that routine is broken, they're going to two things can make them go crazy or make them spaz. It's when the routine is broken, or when something traumatic from their past happened to them, that like hot water, like something like that. So that's why I want to say that to that.
Yeah, that all checks out too. I did transportation for autistic adults for a nice stint of time, and that's why I say Dustin Hoffman's performance is done. I don't think even as well as he did it, I don't think he can get away with it now. Like even Angela, when we were watching it, she was like, I don't know if...
no, Tom can't get away with it. Dustin could.
But, I mean, people take issue with somebody pretending to have a handicap because they're taking the job away from somebody with the actual handicap that should have got that role. That's the
But here on TTFT, this is a disability free show because when we did Coffee Town, we were cheering on that scene.
oh
Like
yeah,
we fully supported that.
I firmly believe Dustin Hoffman was the best man for the role. I stand by it. I just don't think
Hey,
2020 would stand by it.
Remember, I Am Sam. Went
Yeah,
home,
you never go fool.
He went home and hit empty handed. All right,
Yeah.
so all right, okay,
Yes,
all right.
that's what I'm saying.
And those are talking points. There's nowhere better way than talking points.
Yes.
Man. Hey, there we go. Boom.
Find us in all these links. It's coming up right now.
Why don't you subscribe? It'll last longer.